Hey, what's this? This wasn't part of the plan. I'm continuing to develop my twin EDF Jet Canberra Bomber with a view to have something resembling the Royal Australian Air Force Canberra Bomber very soon. This Mark III Canberra Bomber with the 3D printed fuselage is flying really well. I think I've got the size and weight right for the twin EDF Jets. If you recall, my Mark II Canberra Bomber, which had a foam cut fuselage, had a wing loading that was a bit too high, so I quickly moved on to the Mark III. This left an intact airframe, and I was just curious, I wonder how it would go if it was a little bit lighter. In this video, I remotor the Mark II Canberra Bomber with a small brushless motor and test fly it indoors as well as outdoors. Let's see how this little experiment went. And here it is. I removed the EDF Jets and put on a small MC1104 brushless motor. I installed a 4-channel receiver with a 2S battery and a 5-volt regulator to step down the voltage to the 2-gram servos. All these parts, including the servos, are just tacked onto the outside using double-sided tape. This is the same radio setup that I used on my DMF Jump Racer Junior recently, where I run 2S with a 5-volt regulator to step down the voltage to the receiver and the servos. I left the EDF housings in place because they shouldn't cause too much drag, and they provide a little bit of dihedral as well. The weight ended up at 86 grams without the battery and 100 grams with the 220 mAh battery. Let's see how the Canberra Bomber flew outdoors. I'm out in the park, there's not a breath of wind, and I'm going to try the Mark II Canberra with a little MC1104 motor running 2S. Flying with quite a bit of up trim. Once it's in the air, it flies beautifully. Just a hush of throttle. Try a little bit less throttle. Absolutely silent. A little bit of throttle, it just goes up like a rocket. See how slow it can go. It's really slow. Oh, let's bring it in. We'll adjust that trim. I've just given it a bit of up trim and we'll see if that makes a difference. Ah, yes, that's better. Flies absolutely beautifully. It's a great power to weight ratio and wing loading ratio. When it had the EDF Jets, it was too heavy. Seems to be pretty stable. I've got the throttle, the motor pointing upwards unfortunately. I should have pointed that down more. See if it does a loop. Try that again. Some height. No sweat. So it's actually running 2S, probably 1S would be heaps. It's just using a little 220 mAh battery with the MC1104 motor. I think this will fly beautifully indoors. No, I've got the trim right. Okay, I think I'll bring it in. After repositioning the motor, pointing it down slightly and slightly to the right, I then tested it indoors. Let's see how that went. Yep.
nice and slow. Nothing like when they had the EDFs.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. It's so much lighter.
especially-
It's actually got a little tiny 2S battery in it. But no, it's a good sort of indoor speed.
Yeah, that's right. You got enough to actually square the corners.
Yeah. Notice Michael's inverting his cub here. So here's an opportunity for some mirrored formation flying. But don't get too close. Oh, sorry.
Any carnage to yours?
No, it's fine. It's a prototype.
No damage done to my piece of foam, but
Yeah.
I actually got some slice marks here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That is fine.
These propellers are bad for that.
let's see how it flies in a clockwise direction. Probably using a bit too much power there for takeoff. Good, it seems happy flying in both directions. What's this little fellow doing down here? And that's the end of my testing.
Conclusions. Well, this was just a little experiment to see how the Mark II Canberra Bomber would fly with lighter motor. I just threw it together and stuck all the radio gear and servos onto the body with double-sided tape. I was quite surprised how well it flew outside on a calm day, and then it was a delight to fly indoors. It was nice and slow and stable. I was even able to do some takeoffs, which I'd never been able to do before. This was partly helped by the fact that I moved the undercarriage slightly wider. I do not intend to keep this prototype, but it was a useful exercise and I'll be able to use what I learnt on future planes. The next version of this plane, the Mark IV Canberra Bomber, is currently on my drawing board. I'm going to base it on the Royal Australian Air Force Mark XX colour scheme and style, and it should look more scale this time. As weather permits, I'm exploring slope soaring sites down the Victorian Peninsula near Melbourne, Australia. I'll be posting a video on that in the near future. I've been catching some great footage from my visits to indoor aviation sites. I'll be doing my biannual video on that probably about middle of the year. And as usual, if you'd like to follow my projects and exploits in RC aviation, please subscribe to DavesFunRC and then I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.